Hello and welcome to the Minimum Competence episode for Wednesday, February 12th. I'm your host for today, Andrew Leahy, a tax and technology attorney from New Jersey. On today's episode, Trump's DOJ scaling back anti-corruption enforcement, his antitrust nominee's tough confirmation hearing, Tom Goldstein's fight for release amid fraud charges, and my column on what's portable from New Jersey's senior property tax relief bill. Let's remember, winter is not a season, it's a celebration, and read today's legal news. On this day in legal history, February 12, 2002, the trial of former Yugoslav President Slobodan Milošević began at the International Criminal Tribunal for the Former Yugoslavia, or ICTY, in The Hague. It was the first time a former head of state was tried for war crimes by an international tribunal. Milošević faced 66 charges, including genocide, crimes against humanity, and violations of the laws of war, stemming from conflicts in Bosnia, Croatia, and Kosovo during the 1990s. Prosecutors accused him of orchestrating ethnic cleansing campaigns that led to mass killings, deportations, and atrocities, particularly against Bosniaks, Croats, and Kosovar Albanians. Defiantly refusing to recognize the tribunal's legitimacy, Milošević insisted on representing himself in court. The trial, one of the most complex in modern history, lasted over 4 years, involving thousands of documents and hundreds of witnesses. His defense centered on denying personal responsibility, blaming NATO, and portraying himself as a protector of Serbs. However, the proceedings never reached a conclusion. Milošević died of a heart attack in his prison cell on March 11, 2006, before a verdict could be issued. His death frustrated victims who sought justice and left legal scholars debating whether the trial had succeeded in advancing international accountability. The case, despite its abrupt end, set a precedent for prosecuting heads of state for war crimes and influenced later trials, including those of Charles Taylor and Omar al-Bashir. The U.S. Justice Department under President Donald Trump has significantly reduced its anti-corruption enforcement, halting prosecutions and weakening key laws. Officials have pulled back on enforcing the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, which bans corporate bribery abroad, arguing that American companies should not be penalized for standard international business practices. Prosecutors were also ordered to drop a criminal case against New York Mayor Eric Adams, a Democrat with ties to Trump, citing his re-election campaign and other priorities. In addition, the department has disbanded efforts to sanction Russian oligarchs and dismissed veteran prosecutors who handled cases against Trump. Attorney General Pam Bondi framed these actions as an attempt to root out political bias in the justice system. Ethics officials and independent government watchdogs have been fired or reassigned, including inspectors general and whistleblower protection leaders. Critics, including legal scholars and former officials, warn that these moves align law enforcement with Trump's political agenda and weaken anti-corruption safeguards established after Watergate. Republican Senator Chuck Grassley has expressed concern and vowed to investigate, while some Democrats and former prosecutors see the changes as an effort to dismantle legal mechanisms designed to hold public officials accountable. Gail Slater, President Donald Trump's nominee to lead the Justice Department's Antitrust Division, is set to face tough questioning from the Senate during her confirmation hearing. As a former economic advisor to Vice President J.D. Vance and a veteran antitrust attorney, Slater would oversee major cases against tech giants like Google and Apple if confirmed. Senate Democrats are expected to press her on maintaining enforcement and independence, especially amid concerns that the administration is undermining the DOJ's traditional nonpartisanship. Senator Cory Booker has raised alarms about potential staffing cuts at the DOJ's Antitrust Division, warning they could weaken protections for consumers. Other Democrats, including Senators Peter Welch and Amy Klobuchar, plan to question Slater on her commitment to continuing efforts to lower prices in healthcare, housing, and agriculture. Meanwhile, Republican Senator Mike Lee has voiced support for Slater, expecting her to carry on Trump's push against big tech monopolies. Slater's background includes roles at Fox Corp, Roku, and a now-defunct tech industry lobbying group, raising further concerns about her potential ties to the companies she would be regulating. Her confirmation will be a key test of the administration's approach to antitrust enforcement and corporate consolidation. Tom Goldstein, co-founder of SCOTUS blog, has asked to be released from jail after prosecutors accused him of violating his release conditions by secretly moving millions in cryptocurrency. Goldstein was arrested after a Maryland federal court found probable cause that he had misled officials about his finances. The government claims he used undisclosed crypto wallets for large transactions while arguing in court that he needed his home's equity to fund his defense. Goldstein's attorneys argue the government is mistaken, stating that he does not own the wallets in question. They claim text messages cited by prosecutors actually show Goldstein directing funds to a third party to settle a debt, not controlling the wallets himself. Goldstein faces charges of tax evasion, aiding false tax returns, failing to pay taxes, and lying on a loan application, with prosecutors alleging he concealed gambling income and misused his firm's funds. He has pleaded not guilty and maintains he will be exonerated at trial. His legal team includes lawyers from Munger, Tullis, and Olson and has filed an emergency motion for his release, and he has also been permitted to represent himself in court. A New Jersey proposed bill, S1756, is a smart adjustment to the state's senior property tax relief system, allowing older homeowners to downsize without losing their eligibility for tax benefits. At least that's what I argue this week in my column for Bloomberg Tax. Right now, seniors who move must restart the tax reimbursement process, which can mean higher property taxes and a financial disincentive to selling. By making these benefits portable, the bill removes an unnecessary barrier to housing mobility, freeing up larger homes for younger families without adding excessive costs to the state budget. This approach is a model for other states struggling with housing shortages and inefficient tax incentives, but it's not perfect. The bill's $500,000 income cap is too high, providing relief to seniors who may not need it. A more reasonable threshold, like 500% of the federal poverty level, would better target those on fixed incomes. Additionally, a cap on home values would ensure benefits don't go to wealthy homeowners with expensive properties but low taxable income. A reasonable solution would be to apply tax relief only to the first 150% of a state's median home price, preventing subsidies from disproportionately benefiting the wealthy because they happen to be seniors. Ultimately, this bill corrects a major flaw in New Jersey's tax policy without overhauling the system or eliminating relief for seniors who need it. But states following this example should refine their programs to ensure they help only those who truly need assistance rather than offering broad-based entitlements that distort housing markets. And with that, and as always, I thank you so much for listening to Minimum Competence, your daily news podcast for lawyers. If you're looking for more than Minimum Competence, links to further reading on all the topics touched on today are in the show notes. And reviews go a long way towards helping new listeners to find our show. If you have a moment and can leave a rating or review on your podcast player, we'd sure appreciate it. And if you know someone that might be interested in a story we cover, consider sending them the episode. But remember, nothing here should be construed as legal advice because it is certainly not that. Minimum Competence is available at minimumcomp.com and wherever it is you get your finely crafted podcasts. If you haven't checked out the website in a while, give it a look. There are complete transcripts and resources for each episode and its corresponding segments, as well as an opportunity to receive new episodes in email, newsletter, form. We will see you back here tomorrow, and until then, remember, in the depth of winter, you can learn that within you lays an invincible summer.